get started so everybody can get home at a reasonable hour today. So this is our Sustainable Jersey Greenable Woodbridge Visioning Meeting. And we go over all of the things that we've been working on. We look for new ideas, and we want your help in setting our vision for the coming couple of years. This is about a 2-year vision. And so we're going to start off by telling you what we've been doing, and then hoping for your input, because Tom is brilliant, but between Tom and me, we can't possibly come up with all of the good ideas. So, and for those of you who are going to be watching this from home, we'll give you an email that you can send in your ideas and thoughts to. So everybody is included in this. So do you have the clicker? Okay, so Sustainable Jersey has been our roadmap since the very beginning. For those of you who have been with me since we started, I called it Sustainability for Dummies, because when we first began, I was a dummy. And by going on their site, you could dig down and dig down and dig down until you really understood why we had to do things and how to do them. And so it has been terrific. And you can see we are, nobody in the whole state of New Jersey has as many points as we do. Nobody in the whole state of New Jersey has a gold star, and we have one in energy. And as we go on, we're going to talk about, they've put out 2 more gold stars, and of course we're going to try to get them. We can all be so proud of Woodbridge, and we've gotten to this point because of people sitting in this room, the Green Team, our Environmental Commission, all of the people who work in town. It's just an incredible team effort. We have Monica here from the library and everything. She's always willing to try some kind of new program to help get the word out. Audrey does recycling. Marta's opening the door, but she does all of our planning. So it's a true team effort. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the gold star in energy. And Tom will tell you what we did to get that gold star, why we're a little bit nervous if we're going to be able to keep that gold star, and then we'll open it up to you for ideas on what more we can do. So it's all yours.
Thanks so much, Carolyn, and thanks everyone for coming. So the Gold Star Standard in Energy was the first Gold Star Standard released by Sustainable Jersey. Believe it or not, almost 3.5 years ago already. So we were among the first to apply and the only to get the Gold Star Standard at this point. You can see highlighted on the screen, those are the basics of what needs to be done in order to just be eligible for the Gold Star in Energy, right? So there's a standard to go over a 3-year period as you move forward to continually reduce your greenhouse gas emissions by at least 10.6%. And then in addition to that, there's these other sustainability activities that you need to focus on either the municipal level or the community level. So there's always a metric tied to it, and there's always specific actions tied to it. Essentially what we did when we applied, we looked at the actions that we knew that we were eligible for. And then we also had a conversation with Sustainable Jersey, because they were willing to have that conversation and say, listen, it looks like you guys are doing a lot of great stuff. Tell us a little bit more about the innovative projects going on in the township. And perhaps there could be some kind of a way to tie data to that and get to the overarching goal of the Gold Star Standard. So that's what we did. And we were happy about that, and we're still very happy about that. But the challenges of the pandemic faced us all, right? And this is certainly one of them for us, right? So for the residential side of things, and for certainly for the business side of things, we didn't want to overburden our business community in doing any energy efficiency upgrades, especially when their doors were closed. So there are some things now, though, that are starting to open up, right, as of Friday, and also with regard to new actions. So there's going to be a new action that just came live this year It's centered on community solar. So community solar, much like community gardening, you don't have to have panels on your roof. You can essentially buy into a renewable energy marketplace and reap the benefits of renewable energy. So there are some things that we're starting to look at that might put us in a good spot to try to get back into the Gold Star standard for energy, if not this year, hopefully, certainly next year.
And our utilities are also offering programs. So PSE&G just got approval from BPU to do a comfort, what's it called? Comfort Partners, and that you have to be income eligible. But they will come in, do an audit, and they will do some of the recommendations for you. I had Elizabethtown Gas, they do an audit. It does not have to be, your income does not matter. You call them, you ask, they'll come to your house. It was fantastic, and I thought I was pretty good, and they gave me a whole list of things that I would change, and he actually fixed some things while he was there. So I encourage everybody to take advantage of these opportunities, Tom.
What was that company?
Elizabethtown Gas.
So you call them up, they do an audit, energy conservation.
They come out to your house, yep.
That's free.
Free. Kind of almost have to be crazy not to do that.
So we jump over a little bit. So these are the actions specifically that Woodbridge was credited for 3 years ago. We not only met the 10.6 reduction, but as you can see, we surpassed that by 3%. So we're excited to continue to do that. We're also excited for the opportunity to look at these new actions and see ways to be able to help folks that might not have had the opportunity before to think about solar, right? So it's an equity thing, it's a social justice issue, and it's also a significant way to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. So we're excited about it, but again, we'd love to get some input.
Yeah, you mentioned equity, and Sustainable Jersey and the township and Greenable Woodbridge are very concerned about equity. And through being greener and a lot of these actions that we do, we can think of everybody in the community and help everyone. And that is an important goal for us. So opening the floor for any ideas on what the town can do to help save energy. And throughout everything we talk about, if there are ways to be more equitable in the actions that we do, we'd love to hear them. Anybody, ideas? Need ideas? Need help?
Just, I remember looking into solar power in my house a couple of years ago. I don't know what they're marketing now, but I did all the time, and it didn't seem affordable at that time. Let me give you the numbers. You have this, they said they'll install for free, 20-year contract, $100 a month for the 20 years. If you sell your house, you still have that. Anyway, you do the math. You're also still tied to the grid. They won't install something that overproduces the power, probably 80% of your usage. So you're still tied into PSE&G. Anyway, doing the whole math, since you got an outside company to pay for the solar panels, they get the kickback from the government, not you. So therefore, you don't make your money or even cut even until about 10 years, right? This is where I'm going. You don't start making money back because you're paying solar panels. And then the efficiency of the solar panels, and correctly, the technology is different now, pretty much starts to degrade or have like about 10 years. So about 20 years, those solar panels are not going to be as efficient as they previously. So in my head, I was like, well, this is not financially beneficial to me unless I pay for them outright and I get that government kickback. Then I'll make my money quicker, maybe 5 years. I still have about 5 years to get money back.
Right.
So the financial obligation it's tough unless I have that $20,000 that I can just throw in there.
Yeah, it's the price of solar panels is coming down, but you're correct that sometimes it's just not financially feasible, which is why we're looking at this community solar program, because you don't have to put it on now. You're not going to save huge amount of money, maybe what are we saying, like 10 to 15% off of your electric bill, but you do have the sense of, I am using renewable energy. And that's the beauty of that. And talking about being equitable, we are going to market this to our low-income families, to the people who are in our affordable housing, in the apartments. And, but at the same time, I think it's like has to be 50% and 50%. 50 for people who are low income, and then the rest of us fit in that other half. But for instance, my house, I face in the wrong direction, and I have a beautiful tree in my backyard that shades my home and my entire property. I won't put a solar panel on my house because I can't. But when this program goes live, I'll be one of the first to sign up for community solar. So hopefully that'll be able to help you and a lot of other people. Any other questions or comments? Yes?
So, the more about community solar for you, in order to be maintained within this program, you said you need to be a certain percentage of the community to install them on their homes, or?
No, it's not on the homes. So these are people who have their own solar fields. For instance, they're putting solar panels and paying the rent to warehouses to put the solar panels on their roof. And then they do this community solar program. So you don't have to put up a solar panel.
They're going to go on businesses in Woodbridge Township.
Some of them are in Woodbridge, some of them might be on a warehouse in Perth Amboy.
Does that go to PSE&G, or do you have to have something installed on your house?
Nothing. You don't have to do anything.
So
And-
you're just basically saying, I want to divert partial of my energy usage towards the solar.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's a small financial incentive, about 50%.
Yeah.
But the bulk of it is that you're trying to transition to renewable.
You nailed it. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's important.
It's not something that you like seeing.
Also, we could be like on a month-to-month, and then the price could go up or down, depending on energy usage.
Different contractors are different, and just to that point, EPU is still in the phases right now of seeing who's going to shake out those bids.
Mm-hmm.
We'll know that soon.
And then we'll be right on it. So, yeah.
The only problem I have with solar panels, just in my neighborhood, there was 2 houses that had gorgeous trees in their yard. Cut them all down just for solar panels.
Yeah, totally
Down the
agree.
street is like this barren area. So I keep planting, I have a small yard, but I keep planting more trees. So that's the downside that I see.
It is.
Everybody's cutting their trees down to put solar panels.
And you shouldn't do that.
No, yeah.
The shade gives you as much energy, it saves the energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I don't think it's just for the solar panels. I think people don't like leaves, and people love the grass.
So these are watching cut the trees down and then put the solar panels on them.
Gotcha, I gotcha. And those houses, but I know on my block,
Oh, yeah, they don't like
they're still
trees.
upset with me because of my trees.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
very close to whatever.
You want to talk about the microgrid?
So,
Did you want ideas?
Yeah. You got
I
'em?
was just thinking of perhaps using our trucks, and I don't know if we were
Let me
talking
get my
about
pen.
something like this. Getting the used oil from McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, or even homes, or maybe have a central location where we could take that oil and potentially make it into a biodiesel or refine it into something else. I don't know if that might satisfy some of the rules in there.
We have Oilmatic, which is down in Casey, and that's what they collect. They collect from major restaurants in town.
They do?
Yeah, they do already. They'll install a system even for free and collect from them, and they turn that to biodiesel. I don't know exactly where they take it, but their one garage is right down in Casey. Yeah.
Do you know what percentage of the companies that take it in Woodbridge Township? All of them?
Does everybody recycle?
Does everybody use that company? We have a substantial amount. So maybe we could reach out to more and increase that percentage.
Yeah, there's other ones. There's Darling, and there's other different companies that will collect waste management, and other ones also collect also. But I don't know if everybody, if you're going to generate a lot of grease in the restaurants, they do have somebody that collects it.
Yeah.
But it would be different companies along the way. It would just be that way.
They probably pay somebody to get rid of this oil, right?
They used to give you a rebate back on it, but of course, since the prices kind of changed when gas went down, and
But maybe if we reached out to, let's say, I work at Clark Pool, and I know we're going to create some grease, and they probably just, I don't know, they probably drive down to Keysby, but if there was, I don't know, some type of advertisement that says, hey, we'll take your oil or something like that, or reaching out to more, or increase that. I know how this works, it's cutting down by 10% or something like that. We could increase the amount of companies that are now giving us oil and that are therefore give us the numbers that we're looking for.
That's a great idea to just to do outreach and maybe work with some of these companies to do the outreach with them.
A lot of grease, even Jiffy Lube,
Yeah.
there. So I know the auto parts stores, when I'm done with my oil, I don't go down to Keithby, I just go down to AutoZone and there's a container that I fill it, and then
Right.
they probably.
They'll recycle that, yeah.
Yeah. And that's very important because like when you change the oil in your car, we don't want it going down the driveway into the sewers. So it's important to do something like that. Okay, let's tell you about the microgrid. This is something
I'm sorry, I was
new
just
that
thinking
we're
of
working on.
another idea.
Oh, another idea?
She was
Keep
gonna
on
do it when
going.
I came down here.
Okay.
I remember the e-waste that you create, and I know Best Buy had something, if you had an old computer, you could leave it in the back or something like that. So perhaps something like, I know you also collect e-waste in the trailer, but maybe advertising that, having a central location, play with the numbers there, increase by 10%, and therefore we can cut the greenhouse emissions of actually burying that stuff in a deeper location, or the greenhouse gases that are emitted from there, and store those properly. Try to even recycle them, send them back to Bayshore. Try to cut some funds out.
Sounds good. Audrey, sound good?
Yeah, there's only certain places that will take the electronics, and landfills cannot even take that anymore. It's illegal. They'll turn it away if you have recycles in it. Ours goes to Green Chip. It goes into Brooklyn, and he has a whole facility over there. He recycles everything out. There's things in Somerset. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, that'll take that one. Yeah.
That's good. Okay. This is what's going to be happening downtown in a couple of years. Go explain to Tom because I can't.
This is on more of the innovative side of energy efficiency and resiliency, right? So essentially what a microgrid is, so think about our grid distribution system, right? So overhead wires. A microgrid is the ability for a system to function in a distributed way, right? So we have to generate that electricity. We also have to be able to distribute it. So essentially, the diagram just kind of shows this overall concept of where our energy comes from now, right? To our homes, to our businesses, how the energy is produced, and then what we do with it. So what we do with it is the microgrid. So the microgrid is essentially a thinking organism inside of an operation that knows how and when to move those electrons and where they need to be most efficient. The neat thing about this is that it can be idle. So in a situation where we have a Sandy or a significant storm event or any other kind of issue like a pandemic where we need to distribute resources in a specific manner, the microgrid will function either manually or by itself through operations and commands to be able to move that energy where it needs to be most efficient. So this is a project that's been going on for at least 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5, we've been working on it. It's through BPU, and they have given us grants for it. I think there are only 5 other towns in the state that have also gotten these grants. So when you work with BPU, sometimes it's a slower process than you would like. You have to be very patient. But at the end of the day, this is going to be very exciting. It's going to be right here on Main Street. And it's also going to serve Ross Street School, the firehouse, the middle school, and the businesses and apartments on Main Street. So it's very innovative and very, very new.
Well, power.
So the power itself, right, so it will come either in from the grid or the distribution resources will either, they can and will be in a variety of different forms. So just like in the diagram, some will be solar, right, some will have battery storage systems, combined heat and power. So it's not all renewable, but we do function, we've worked with our partners in such a way to design it to ensure that it's efficient in that the electrons move faster to places in need. So it costs less and there's more energy redundancy over time. So it's you're producing less and you're moving it way less far as if you were producing it in a coal generation plant, we're moving all those electrons into the Woodbridge because we need them most here right now.
So if this experiment works, we might see microgrids all over. And the wires are underground, which is big. So our next topic, and this is something very exciting if you want to go to the Gold Star in water. So Sustainable Jersey has 2 new Gold Stars right now, one in water and one in health. So first we'll focus on water. And when I say that Sustainable Jersey is a great roadmap towards sustainability, Tom focuses on water from the minute he wakes up until the minute he goes to sleep, but it hadn't been that much of a priority. And they are helping us to realize how important it is and how much water is involved in absolutely everything that we do. So there are 2 things that are required to start with, to even begin. And the first one is a natural resources study. And thanks to the Environmental Commission and Marta Levsky, we have an updated natural resources. So we have that already. So step 1, we've got it. Step 2 is the fun part. And that is writing our own water story. And just saying what happens with water in Woodbridge? Where does it come from? Where does it go? What is it used for? How much of it is wasted? And Tom is going to write that story, and I think he's probably got half of it written already, and he'll go into it a little bit more. But does anybody here have any ideas of what we should be putting in that story? Come on, guys. This is an easy one.
We don't get our water from here. We ship our water in, right?
Yep, Middlesex Water Company.
From there, but they get their water from some type of reservoir. That's what we.
Right, so aquifers and directly under us.
Gotcha. Do we have a storage container here? Some sort of-
We are getting one. So,
We're all environmental science teachers, so we know the value of water. I mean, that's basically 1/3 of what we teach is water.
it's water, really.
Yeah.
So we probably should look at your curriculum and see how we can include that in our story, because our story, it's important what we're teaching our young people.
Or the other way around.
Uh-huh.
The story goes to the curriculum.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, right.
So Tom, what are some of the things, here, come by the microphone, what are some of the things you're talking about putting in the water story?
Yeah, so I think, and a lot of the folks in here, and I'm sure the folks watching right have seen some of the great things that we've done over the last 5 to 10, 12 years now, right? So we've done massive work on stormwater management. Thanks to our awesome planner, Marta, and Mike Ellen, our municipal engineer, and the folks in this room directly who've gotten their hands dirty and built some really great rain gardens. So, that's just one example, right, of the fate and transport of stormwater, where it goes and why it's important. But there's so much else to it, right? So we have over 3,000 acres of regulated floodplains. 7 out of the 10 towns have special flood hazard areas. Where does all that water go? How does it percolate? How does it move? Where is it going underground? How do we then maintain ourselves as a force to then take that water and move every day, right? So that's the water story in a nutshell, right? So it's going to be fun. It has the concept has started in terms of writing theory, but we would love any suggestions.
Absolutely. And I think we got a good one here too. And we have more slides later on that'll go into more about the water story. And the next one is, we'll skip over that because we pretty much said it. The next one is also exciting, and this is the gold standard in health. And the way that they want us to look at it is to look at health in absolutely everything we do as a town. In all of our policies, we should be looking at how it affects the health of our residents in our community. And what's interesting is that it's not just about, am I healthy? Are you healthy? Do you have any heart disease, diabetes? That's certainly part of being healthy. but it's also, we just got a report today from Rutgers, who's been working on the Blue Acres, and they had a whole page on the health impact of actually taking these houses down. Because how did that help the health of our community? People are no longer living in homes that are at risk. So those people are healthier. And so it goes, our health impacts every part of our life, and we have to, as people who are working in government and as teachers, we have to start looking at the health and how it impacts us. One of the first things that we have to do is an assessment of the community and the health issues. And we're lucky, I think it is, was it Robert Wood Johnson? Which hospital? Robert Wood Johnson has already done that assessment. It's good till 2022. So we can build off of that, and the important step is you read that and you see where do we have problems, what do we need to fix, and we make a roadmap of how we plan to change it and make it better. So for instance, if there is a certain community that has higher numbers of diabetes, how are we going to reach the people that live in that community and educate them and make sure that they're seeing their doctor, that they're eating the right food, and work with them to be more healthy? So it's a holistic, whole town approach. The other part, and this might make Marta a little bit crazy, is that's one of my goals in life, I'm sorry, is you have to, in all policies, in all things that the town does, you have to look at the health impact of that. So for example, when Marta writes the redevelopment plan, she'll now have a new paragraph saying, how does this impact the health of our community? So when we're building these apartments downtown, it impacts the health because more people will be taking a train. There'll be less cars. Some of the apartments have indoor gyms, they have walking tracks, they have pet amenities, which are also important for health. There's a whole list of things, and you can look at about everything that Marta works on and say, yeah, it does have an impact. Why would you be doing it if it doesn't make us all healthier and better? And that's how we have to start looking at things if we want to get this gold star. And it really opens up our eyes to a whole new, literally a new vision. And then you look at all the other things that we do in town and all the other actions that we've taken, and we can use them toward getting points in health. Did I get it? So, any ideas, questions? Marta?
Well, I'm just going to tell you that pretty much that's for all the plans that we've written for the downtown. That's what the state plan talks about, is how the compact and dense development invites people to walk more, to be more active in their community, to be more active in their government in the community. And so those statements are already in there, so it'll be real simple to add whatever else needs to be added to literally address it.
That's terrific. I hope the other directors are as agreeable.
One of the things that the Environmental Commission that I have on our list is an open space inventory, and identify, see what's been done in the town as far as that goes, and then adjust now based on new things. That would be something that would impact health. If open spaces could be used for walking trails, or places for people to go walk their dogs, or kids to play, or ride bikes, or whatever, and encourage that and publicize these new places you can go and
That's a great idea.
walk. I mean, a lot of places in town, as a cyclist, are not really safe to bike, honestly.
No.
And so some bike
Your
trails.
street, New Dover.
Yeah, I mean, where I live, forget it. But bike trails, walking trails, running paths, anything like that, in open spaces, and then identify it and really let people know where they are.
That's a very good idea. We had talked about that, and we never got to it.
Like a publicity campaign
Yeah.
for publicizing where that is.
Right. And just like we got a grant to write our natural resources inventory from Jack, is that the name of it? Maybe we could apply for a grant from them to do open space. Because that's a big undertaking.
I used to do a program in the summertime for NJIT. Tropospheric ozone is a gas that typically gets made in the summertime when there's a lot of transportation. And what NJIT offered was something called an ozone pass. And you bought it from the college, it was $2.50, and you could use that to go anywhere on a train. So let's just say we're trying to reduce the amount of cars on the road, which then reduces the amount of tropospheric ozone, which then betters the air quality. That's one of the things that is monitored on AQI, on the air quality index. If we could offer an ozone pass for our commuters, specifically people that are commuting, the commuters are buying those apartment buildings that we're creating, that would reduce the amount of cars on the road. So who would sell the ozone pass? That's, I think, where we would have to get to. Could we sell it here? You would have to apply to, I think, a government body, and then you would get authority and a certain amount of tickets to sell. So anyway, how cool that was.
Yeah.
Instead of paying $12, to go to Newark and $12 to come back, and pay $2.50 for the ticket, and I could go. And then ozone pass, you could go anywhere in New Jersey. If I want to go down the shore, you could get $2.
That's interesting.
So in the morning, the way that works is, in the morning is an ozone day. So on hot days in the summer, like usually August, you wake up and be like, you know what, I'm not going to drive. Take an ozone pass when you get to the city. So that would be something that would save commuters a lot of money and go right
Yeah.
on the threshold.
Okay, we're going to work on that one. Yeah.
We're going to ask a question about that. So are you rewarding the people who are already using this to encourage people to take over?
You're trying to encourage the people who would typically drive to now take the train.
Okay, so it sounds like we're rewarding people who are already commuting, which is not helping reduce because they're already commuting, so we're looking for people to, how would you then, how do they propose that you look at the qualifications for getting this ozone pass? Or is it given to everyone?
So from what I looked into with NJIT, or any big companies that have a lot of people coming from wide areas, will have authority to sell these ozone passes. So that's the whole way, taking the train, increase train usage. I don't see the con of even giving a break to people who are taking the train anyhow. So people who are taking the train all the time are probably going to buy the monthly passes anyway, which is going to reduce the amount as well. So if we could reduce the amount of, let's say I'm going down to the shore and I'm paying $2.50, then I'm still one less car taking the train that's going to anyway.
How does NJ Transit fit in? That's what I'm confused.
They accept it. So
They accept it?
it's a New Jersey
Okay.
Transit says ozone pass.
Okay.
It's like
Wow.
you can use it any day.
So they, instead of getting $12, would get $2.50 for you?
Yeah, you don't have to go buy the ticket. Pretty much the conductor takes
Okay.
it. He knows if it's an ozone pass
Cool.
today or not. Typically, the truth of the matter is sometimes they don't even know. They just take it and just accept it.
So it's only good on certain days where there's
Correct.
ozone alert? Okay, like I
When
know
there's an
they-
ozone
air
alert, like
quality
there's an air
alerts.
quality
Okay,
alert, that's
gotcha.
typically if people look on the AQI and say, okay, today's an ozone day.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was really cool. I hope it's still going on.
Yeah, we'll look into that. Thank you. That's a great idea.
Still should be. I have to say one thing about water, you know, I won't say about water too, but updating all of our water fountains. I know we missed a grant with the state of New Jersey, trying to get outdoor water fountain at our stadiums. Because I know there's a lot of bottled water being used at the stadiums, but perhaps if we had a clean filter bottle fill station at the schools, we can reduce the amount of bottle waste as well as, increase the health because there could be lead, there could be bacteria in the water as well. So maybe we could slide that story in there.
Well, we won't give up on getting grants
Yeah, no,
to put them in, to put more of them in.
Last year, we were
Yeah.
a lot of full stations.
Mm-hmm.
well, the township has put some at the community center, most of the library town, our school has some. But at the stadiums, it'd be even better.
That is a very good place to put them.
During a football game, when COVID's over, you can
All
just
right, put them right at the bench. Yeah. Terrific. Okay, let's move on to bikes. Well, we have been talking about bikes for how many years, Tom? Forever. And we did so much research on trying to get the right bike share program. We finally said, why don't we just do it ourselves? And we found a company that has an app that we can use. They have the bikes that we can use. They don't require us, like some of these other bike companies, to put up signs that are bigger than Tom and me put together. And they were just awful. And one of the mayor's pet peeves is that we have sign pollution in this town and no more signs. So we are going to start this program. It's going to kind of be a pilot, start slow. We're going to have 3 locations where the racks will be for these bike shares. One will be down at Captain Carlson Park. One will be at the Greenway. And that one, if you take the bike on the Greenway, you've got to return it when you're done to that rack. You can't drive it down to downtown. We want to keep those bikes there. And the other one is going to be downtown at Tansman Park. So we're very excited. Also, when it talks about bikes, we are finally working on our bike lanes. And Hope Lawn was the first one to get the bike lanes. And we'll see how that works. And hopefully this summer they'll put in more of them. We've put money in the budget and in the capital program for more of these bikes. So that's very good. Moving on. You know, a lot of sustainability, you might not realize, it has to do with the arts in the town and being able to not just shop locally, but if you can do all of your recreation right here at home, you're saving the trip down the shore. You know, you can, so if you can see a show at the Avenel Arts Center, we're Woodbridge, the Artisan Guild, we're going to start opening up the building that we have in downtown and do shows for artists. At the same time as we're trying to build that up again, we've put a survey online reaching out to all artists. So anybody who hears this, anybody who knows anybody who's an artist, visual, theater, whatever, music, so go on to our website and fill out that survey, and you'll become a part of our art community. You don't have to go anywhere because we have over 50 free concerts here in Woodbridge during the summer. There's nobody that does more concerts than us. Our community center has enough recreation, and also we have the club in Woodbridge. I don't think we have a slide for that. Come the fall, we will have a second ice skating rink there. So that is very, very exciting. And of course, we have our Buy Local program and the Buy Local website. A couple of new things in Woodbridge for our merchants. The township started a co-op. And we have about 5 or 6 towns that have signed up for it already. And generally, when a township wants to purchase something, we have to put out a request for proposals. People have to respond, and then we pick usually the lowest bidder. If you can qualify to be a part of our co-op, let's say I need to buy paper, and we have, let's say, Staples in our co-op. I can just go to Staples and buy the paper. The beauty of this is we want to help our local merchants to get in this co-op so they can get more of our business and more of the business of any of the towns. So if anybody's listening to this or anybody knows anybody who has a business here, big, little, whatever, give us a call and we will try to help them get on this co-op. Finally, I want to talk about one very exciting thing that happened over this summer. We were very lucky to be notified by Mark Zuckerberg about asking if we could do a special program here. And what we did was we picked some of our students from each of the high schools, And they participated first in a leadership workshop, and they got the opportunity every Saturday for 2 hours. They got the opportunity to hear from, like, Randy Zuckerberg, who is the founder of the, what is it, Facebook? One of the Facebook things, yeah, what, Facebook Live, and also sister of Mark Zuckerberg, and all kinds of really inspirational and famous people. Then they went and they went to a business and helped them do a business plan and find innovative ways for them to build up their business, especially in the pandemic and coming out of it. A couple of businesses that they worked with that are raving. For those of you who missed the bagels on Main Street, K-Not Bagels, I worked with her, and the good news is she's hoping to open up this summer, early fall. So we're really exciting. She's got a building right on Main Street. And they worked with Gem Limousine, which was getting killed during the pandemic because there were no proms, there were no weddings, nobody was going to the airport. So they worked with them, and while they were at it, the same owner who has Strawberries Pizza. So they did both of them, and it was a really, really wonderful, successful, great opportunity for our young people and our businesses. And now I'm going to turn it over to Tom, because this is his area of expertise. I just want to excuse myself. If I have to walk out before this is over, this is my life. I have to go to another meeting with the mayor, and I'm just waiting for him to text me. Hopefully I can be here till the end, but you're in Tom's good hands now. You should come around here so you get on.
So we're going to dive a little bit into the water resources side of things. So I know folks have probably heard me talk about living shorelines before, and that's actually how I had the pleasure to meet Carol, almost 6 years ago already, when we were talking about living shorelines. So essentially, a living shoreline is a nature-based technique that helps mitigate wave action. It also helps ecological uplift, and that's just really a fancy way to say that shorelines are important, right? So transition areas between, your stream banks, your coastal areas, your marshes, and the water that hits that every day are very, very sensitive. They're some of the most biological places on Earth. So what we're talking about in the next slide is a living shoreline associated with Cliff Road near the boat launch. So this is a proposed project that's currently in concept design. And it's, again, like Carol mentioned, it's a pilot project, so we're only talking about 200 to 300 linear feet of shoreline, but it's really important. So we're thinking about ways to mitigate that strong wave energy that Cliff Road has gotten for years. So you can see how the coastline hammocks on that top picture, and to provide some kind of wave attenuation device that'll also attract migratory birds, near fishery habitats, things that'll make the fisher folk happy there, right? Because anytime you have near fishery habitat, you get larger fish that come in and prey. And you also get these beautiful shorelines, so these native plants that will take root. So we're really excited about this project. Again, it's in concept design now, but we welcome any thoughts as we move forward on it. Yeah.
I launched my book right there, so I am so happy.
Cool.
I remember the comment was mainstay in the championship, and one thing I would love to do is play volleyball. And I was thinking we have a beach on property. And that place where you have those dunes that you project, there's some sand there that farmers, not farmers, that fishermen usually walk out to kayak and hang out to boats. But there's a little bit of shoreline there. We put like 4 or 5, volleyball nets, high quality ones. There's a huge parking lot that we can allocate there, and I can see people using that shoreline.
Yeah, and you've kind of read our mind a little bit with people wanting to use that shoreline more. And it does go right into the next slide, which we're really excited about. So this is a project that I've had the pleasure to work on with Carol and the mayor. And it's one that's just really exciting because as you can see on the picture on the right, that's an existing photo of an area that the township has never owned before. But has now been very aggressive in a manner by which to ensure that that property no longer looks like that in the future. So as you can see, the picture on the left is before Sandy. It's restored similar to that now, but as you get further upstream towards the existing municipal marina, it starts to deteriorate, and it's been in that shape for way too long as far as the town's concerned. So we're really excited about it. We have a lot of cool projects planned for that area, one of which is to have a restaurant that will help fund projects like Living Shorelines, and just other really cool environmental projects within the township. So I can't say too much on it yet because it's still early, but we're excited to at least tell you that it's going on.
One of the coolest things
There you
one
go.
of the coolest things that I take my boat out to Lake and Popcon, and we're going to launch at Atlantic Highlands. But when I take my little ones out, and the water's really calm there, so families can use their boat there. But having a restaurant that you can access via boat
Yeah.
is really, really cool. As long as they have ice cream, kids will be happy, and
That's the
develop
plan.
that shoreline. Oh my God.
That's the
Wish I
plan.
could go out and see. Stuff in Cologne.
So yeah, that's the plan.
Not so bad.
So I probably don't have to say too much about this slide because we have the expert here with us, but thanks to Ricky Viteri and his students that helped create this awesome, it drains the waterways photo and then paint artwork on Main Street. We've had so many nice compliments about this project over the last couple of years, and it's really standing the test of time over the last couple of years. So we're excited about that. And if anyone has any other ideas about where projects like this that highlight the fact that stormwater is drained to our waterways might be beneficial, or concepts for artwork, please let us know. Again, on that note, so we're excited to start putting art installations into all of our rain gardens. So this one was just done just last year in the fall by an art teacher at Woodbridge High School, Kim Zanigan. And it's all made out of recycled materials or materials that would have otherwise just ended up in the landfill. So it's a butterfly for all the pollinator plants in the rain garden. So we're excited to see how that looks once the rain garden starts to fill in. So again, I don't need to say much on the rain gardens. I'm sure everyone has stumbled upon one at this point, or can just walk out their back door and almost spot one now. But we're excited to keep expanding this program. We have a scout that's already interested in completing the 4th on Fulton Street. So this might be as soon as this fall. So I'm sure folks have seen the Fulton Street design and how it looks so nice with the island there. And there's another one planned for the only area that doesn't have one right now. So I'm sure you can kind of imagine that in your head. But we're excited, and any ideas of where these might work well in terms of managing stormwater, or if you want to get your hands dirty and plant, please let us know. This is a photo from one of our biggest projects at the main library. Thanks to Monica for letting us use the site. We're really excited about it.
What's a bioswale?
So bioswales are essentially our rain gardens, right? So, and I'll steal a phrase from Dr. Chris Abrupt on this one, but folks really don't like to have bioretention systems next to their house, right? But they love rain gardens. So it's essentially the same thing. It's a shallow depression that manages stormwater with native plants. It has nice draining soil, so it manages water, percolates, and it helps manage that first half an inch of rainfall. So on the resiliency side of things, there was a report done by Sustainable Jersey, so a CVA, a coastal vulnerability assessment, that helped the town identify some of the infrastructure that was most at risk. So this was an important study done around 2015 or so. We've taken that report and we've started to really dive into it and understand what we need to do now to ensure that between sea level rise, intense storms, and these just pop-up freak thunderstorms that happen every summer now, it seems like, we're not going to be putting ourselves in a situation in the future where we're not prepared and we're not resilient. So this is a study that was done to look at the pump station on Woodbridge Avenue. We just applied for a federal grant to FEMA. It's called Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Grant. And that is to essentially flood-proof that facility using both on-site techniques and nature-based techniques on the streamline there. So we're excited about that, and we should find out in June if we got that. So the Blue Acres program, and Carol alluded to it earlier, but this is a program that we see, kind of develop onto our own now, right? So it started with the Blue Acres buyouts, houses were taken down, folks were removed out of harm's way, and now we have this awesome partnership with Rutgers, Dr. Brooke Maslow, to be able to restore these areas. So turf grass does nothing for flood storage, does nothing for habitat, but what does are these native plants and the ability to be able to bounce back, right? To be resilient after strong storm events. So we built off a partnership that we previously had with Rutgers. So they've been helping us at the Ernest Lawrence Preserve, give wildlife talks there for quite a while. And they've helped us to develop these awesome plans to be able to restore the natural environment. And now this fall we have plans for interpretive signage, trails, really nice things to be able to bring people back to nature within neighborhoods that used to be so prone to flooding, right? So only 3 or 4 feet above sea level, and they receive consistent heavy storm events every year. So as a result of that, we've been able to apply to FEMA's Community Rating System program. Only about 7% of the entire nation gets into this program. It helps folks save money directly on flood insurance. They don't have to do anything. It comes right off their bill. On average, the policy within the township is about $2,000 to $3,000, and we can quantify that to at least over $100,000 of savings every year as a result of programs like floodplain restoration and problem site maintenance in our streams and drainage systems. And this one I'm sure Audrey can talk a little bit about too, but we're super excited about the food waste program that we have going on. We're excited even more for next year when we get to utilize it in its full force, right? And we started it as a food audit, right, Vicki,
Yes.
in JFK, right? And so that was the first time we kind of had a quick snapshot as to what was going into our landfills from our schools. And thanks to that and the work of Audrey and DPW, we were able to get this project off the ground to a point where now we recycle food waste from all of our school facilities. So we've been interactive the whole time, but I think folks, we're on the same team, we're on the same page, right? So we're excited to continue the conversation.
And we have been very successful, and we're so proud of everything that we've been able to do and how the kind of credit that we get throughout the state. And none of it would be possible without everybody sitting here today, everybody on the Environmental Commission. There isn't a director that works for this town or anybody who works for that director that isn't a part of this. And it's really all because it's driven by the mayor and his vision. And that's why we're all so successful, but also so passionate about it. And that is the key. People in other towns ask me, to come and speak to them about how we're so successful. The key is that it's driven by the mayor. In some towns, they have to beg the mayor to let them do things that are environmental. But we're very fortunate here because he gets the picture. So, when you say closing thoughts, that's my closing thought. Any other ideas or questions?
We have just a few thoughts for the environmental commission
Sure.
for the upcoming year. Chantel, do you want to talk about tree inventory? Because that's kind of your baby.
I just thought that was something that we could start perhaps on our fall for maybe over the summer. Just, getting an assessment of what trees we have in the township because we're losing so many. And just you can't protect what you don't know you have. So, small chunks of the township, trees, obviously, and just to see what we have. And so that, let's say, for instance, we need to, maybe there's a disease, that is affecting some of the trees.
Yeah.
We say we have this percentage, and if we're going to, plant new ones, and we should stay away from that particular one, just to plan moving forward.
Public Works had been working on a tree inventory, and they got a whole program. Obviously, in a town this size, it's very, very massive, but you had a thought of breaking it up maybe into smaller areas or smaller types. So maybe what we can do is hook you up with, do you know anything that's going on with that, Audrey?
Well, we're looking for an actual street tree survey, the ones that are on public, like along the sidewalks, the public right of ways.
Maybe, and then in other public spaces.
Many years ago, I did the Camden County Shade Tree Commissioner, did a tree survey for them, and we walked all the roads and located and identified and documented the trees, how tall they were, the health of the trees, the types, everything like that. If you're looking for something like that, that's probably something Rutgers even wouldn't mind doing, like a shade tree survey, if that's what you want, running that way. But I think probably Kevin, because I'm not the GPS type.
No.
I think he might have all that stuff done already.
Right, yeah.
As far as I know, where he was documenting the location of all the trees along the roadways.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I know we've talked about it, but
Kevin might already have.
yeah, we didn't get it though, did we?
We have data on tree maintenance, so if, as a result of the asteroid, things of that nature, how the trees were planted, because the asteroid took them out. But to dial in more specifically, we'll get one talk.
Maybe we can get somebody from Public Works to come down to your environmental commission meeting and see what we can do. Not what we can't do, but what we can do.
And what's been done.
Yeah,
So
right.
we have a starting point where some of this work's been done, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that's a very useful tool to have, so if we can do that, it would be great.
One other thing we could talk to, there's a few things, but one was, Tammy is our new member.
Yes.
Some really good ideas, and one of hers was, and this would be kind of time sensitive, we could probably put something together for this summer, is put together some activities for the camp counselors who do the summer camps that would be environmental in nature, and give them, here's things you can do with kids this age. I mean,
Great idea.
Tammy's a teacher, we have teachers on our environmental commission, so that might be something where we're meeting in June, we may be able to just gather some ideas and put a couple
Love
of
it.
things together so that the kids would be getting some early education in the parks.
Beautiful. That is great. Got anything else?
Well, we learned a little bit more about composting and mass disposal. Hopefully mass disposal will become an issue fast soon, but we're not there yet. And Tammy also thought about contacting some people for the fall to do lectures and presentations that either Zoom or in person on interesting environmental topics for the public and getting word out of those. So those are a few.
And Monica's been doing a bit of that at the library. So, if you want to work with Monica on
Yeah,
that,
that would be great.
she loves it.
Sharon told me, like, you had some program, and just push them out to the artists. And our programs come to yours. You should probably share an audience. I want to share a lot of programs in the library.
Idea I had, because mentioning brothers sparked an idea. I know a girl, I have two girls in the entomology program, and worrying about health, global warming, we're increasing the ticks and how long they're living, and mosquitoes as well. I know the mosquito commission, and I know Rutgers does studies. If we could take that and see what plans that we have to instill to make sure that we're taking care of the mosquitoes, the ticks, for vector-borne diseases, and I know we have some tired places here, just making sure that they're stored properly, reaching out to that way, maybe get some points for the Gold Star that way as well.
Good thought. Yeah.
Because I know at the high school, and I get so upset with it, football players used to be able to tie, drill some holes in it, store water, mosquitoes. Now you're running fast, you're running from a swarm of mosquitoes. Summertime,
Wow, this is really great. Good ideas. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We're good? Fantastic. Thank you so much.